Async and await is a cleaner syntax for promises that's easier to understand. In the previous video on promises, we chained two then blocks to the fetch method to process the data we got from the JSON placeholder API. At the moment, this doesn't really look messy. But once we start to chain a lot of promises together, it can become difficult to read. Async and await allows us to chain promises in a much more readable way. The async keyword lets us create functions that are asynchronous, regardless of the function's content. If we leave the function empty, but log the call to the console, we'll see that it returns a promise. We mark a named function by using the async keyword in front of the function keyword. In an arrow function, we add the async keyword in front of the parentheses. And the same is true for a self-calling arrow function. We have to mark a function with async to be able to use the await keyword inside it. The await keyword allows us to wait for a promise to resolve or reject with a value. To use it, we add it in front of the promise we're awaiting, like the response from the fetch method. And if we want to chain another promise to it, we just await that promise. So, we have the exact same result as we did previously, but it's easier to read. This doesn't mean we won't need to use a then block ever again. For example, let's say we have a named function that returns the data instead of logging it to the console. When we call that function, we're still going to get a promise, because the function is marked as async. So, we'll need to add at least one then block. It's also important to note that the await keyword is blocking. It waits for the promise to resolve or reject before continuing on. But, because the function itself is asynchronous, other code in our application can still run, so it's not a problem. In the next video, we'll take a look at how to replace function constructors with classes. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.